Hi, everyone. Welcome today to Celebrity Customer Experience Riffs with me, Jill Raff, where we riff on anything and everything from employee experience to customer experience. Because I guarantee you, outstanding employee experience will lead to outstanding customer experience. And on the same note, poor employee experience will lead to poor customer experience. When you have what I call a connection culture, one where everyone in your company, all the people involved, the most important elements of your company feel connected through relationships and really having each other's backs, that's when you can count on your employees delivering a celebrity customer experience. So I want to thank you first for those of you starting to come in and listen to this live. If not, and you're listening to the replay, thank you for that as well. But thank you for spending the time with me today, where we're going to explore a really important topic of EX. So, what the heck is EX anyway? So many people are like, what is EX? Right. So, we're going to look at that and we're going to look at why EX and CX, the brand of the Jill Raff Group, from is EX to CX, why the two are so intrinsically connected. Why are they intertwined and truly inseparable? So let's dive into some of that today in the episode. And I want to thank everyone for their time. I know time is our greatest resource. So we cannot get that back for sure. Once it's gone, it's gone. So thank you for your time today and sharing this time with me, and give me your input. I want to know. It's much more fun to hear what your thoughts are along the way. To maximize this time, please feel free to write out any questions that you have and tag me in that, even if you're watching the replay. And feel free to share this episode or any of the previous episodes that will continue to stay on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, and share them with those who you feel you can benefit as well. Okay, so we have UX, we have CX, EX, and even I've created one called with the around the concept of LX. So, what are all these acronyms anyway? So let's start with breaking it down. UX, right? I think most of us are probably most familiar with UX from the advent of all the technology and apps and software and working on a computer, working on mobile devices. That has to do with the user experience. And usually that term UX is applied to those industries. It's the user who's interfacing. Is we often talk about something being user friendly, right? So that comes from UX, the user experience. Now, CX is a broader term and it stands for customer experience. The X, as you will see throughout each one, stands for experience. So, CX is customer experience. Now, this is a hot topic, of course, for most businesses, any organizations. And if not, then it certainly should be, because it's where it's the feedback, it's the feeling, it's the experience that your end customers have when doing business with you. And it's where many companies and many products that have been developed to create better CX, better experiences for the customers, really focus on. For many, they feel like this is the main focus, that they should start with the customers' expectations and the customers' experiences and their desires, and then work backwards to meet those needs. So, contrarily, I, on the other hand, feel that it should start from the inside. It's why my proprietary process is called the Inside Out Framework, because I believe, on the other hand, that we have to start inside with EX. Okay, EX is your employee experience. And I really feel that it's when you focus on your people inside. When you create that from the beginning, then your customers will naturally feel that from your people. You know, from my experience of growing up in a newly incorporated, fast growing franchise at the time of McDonald's, truly my entire foundation. My parents opened their first McDonald's in 1959, a few years before I was born, but it was store number 150. And, you know, everything that I learned from that foundation of literally growing up, going to conventions where Ray Kroc, the founder, was speaking, and hearing stories about him from my parents, learning the values from him. There were many things that I took from there and applied going forward with all the other experiences that I've had across other industries, working in fashion design and food styling. Basically, I say from McDonald's to Michelin, because literally, um, besides my McDonald's experience, which is a very different QSR, right, quick service restaurant experience, I've worked in Harrods Pastry Kitchen. I worked in a one-star Michelin restaurant, Guido's in Piemonte in Italy. And all these different experiences telling you about is to show that this inside out framework that I created has been built on the principles that I learned, developed, experienced over and over again, regardless of what industry I was in, regardless of what country I was in around the world, regardless even of the continent that I was on. So, really, it's a very important aspect, and why my brand starts with the EX. And we're talking about this because we do believe that this is really crucial, and we stake in the ground that the flow of sustainable success is from EX to CX. Okay, so what does it mean to create great EX? It means you have to treat your employees how you want them to treat your customers. So, I want to establish, if you haven't watched any of my episodes before or written or read any of my content, and if you have, you'll know that I believe that, as I said, we need to treat our employees like customers. So I do believe that they are our first customers. They are the first line customers in a business. And so we have to treat them, our first customers, just as well, and show them, model for them how we want them to treat your end customers, your paying customers. Because I believe that people are people first and their customers second. So that applies to whether they're your employees, whether you're paying them, or whether they're paying you, as right, your internal customers you're paying, your external customers are paying you. Either way, they're people first. So you have to appeal to them from a human perspective. You have to be a connection culture, which will not only retain people, which is so crucial and it's so costly, one of the biggest expenses of all businesses, but you have to track them. So, how do we do some of these things? Okay, I'm going to give you a few tips for today. Quick wins seem obvious. You've heard them a million times, but I have to ask you, have you implemented it into your business? And I can tell you, as a customer, when I go into any organization, any company, any retail shop, any restaurant, any hotel, you name it, even a, a professional office like a doctor's office or an attorney's office, people have not been taught that this is what they need to do. How about a simple smile, right? A genuine smile. How about knowing their name and using their name? Those simple things are so huge and can have priceless benefits and effects, even subconscious ones, that will result in increased sales because people feel the genuine connection with people. So I want to start with just challenging you with that. If nothing else, your takeaway today, I want to challenge you to be the one to smile in your company, to find out your customers' names and use it. I want to challenge you as leaders and managers in your businesses to teach that to your people and challenge them to do that. And take note. Just start with one day and then maybe add a couple days or do a week and watch the difference. Trust me, I want to hear back from you. It will make a huge impact on your business. So some other things are the first steps of my inside out framework that I mentioned. And that, of course, is, again, many of these things seem like common sense, but they're not fully being applied. And even if they're like, okay, well, we do that. And the first one is establishing your values, vision, and mission. And everyone's like, okay, yeah, we have that. But do you know what that means? Do you have systematic um, business protocols in place so that you are expressing what those values are to your people and to your fellow workers as well as your end customers? I'm guessing that they don't. So I'm not talking about just checking off the list. I'm talking about taking these strategies and really implementing them. So, with the first one of creating those values, vision, mission, and creating the systems and value standards around them that are in alignment with them, that will then work in conjunction with all of the systematic tasks and skills, skill training, and other things that you're giving to your people. Okay. Um, Next step is hiring, right? You have to make sure you're bringing in the right people to your organization. So I call it value aligned hiring. Again, everything is reflected back to that first step. And it's not just what do you have in common or, oh, wow, I interviewed with someone and we're so like minded. We have so much in common. They're so interesting. This is someone I would love to go to dinner with. Like, what a fun person. Or they said a few things that, was like, "Oh, that resonated with me. That's exactly what I would do," right? So you're seeing the commonality between you, but it doesn't mean necessarily that that's the right hire for you. Instead, I want to encourage you to hire for people who are like valued, who have the same values as you and your organization, and that are going to work with a company purpose, not just a self motivated purpose, or not just even task oriented to just do their one task, right? We need to be working in a more globally human environment, even within our own organizations. Next is creating a way for free flowing conversation both directions and do it systematically so that it's prepared and it can be anonymous if that's desired. If you want to know genuine, true feedback and thoughts from your employees, from your staff, make them be anonymous. Give them an opportunity to always vocalize themselves and put their name on it if they want, so that you can get back in touch with them. Ask them, is this something you would like to discuss later? Is this something you would be willing to put your name on? And if not, that's okay, because all that matters is the information that you receive. And that's the information that you can build on, that you can make changes on within your company. And you have to hear from your people first. Uh, just popping over to see who's joining us. Spellbound Wagers, thank you for joining. You are so correct on the smile and name usage. Golf shops sure need to implement that. Okay, thank you for that input. I think I'm sure golf shops need to implement that. I've been in quite a few golf shops myself, and half the time I'm not even recognized. Right? Nobody even looks my way, much less says, "Hi, how are you? Welcome in. Let me know if I can help you," even from a more passive position, right? Nothing. So, that makes me think, even when I walk into Walgreens, so clearly they have established it systematically within their business, within their organization and companies, no matter where they are. When I walk into Walgreens or CVS, there's someone near the front who greets me and says, "Hi, welcome to CVS. Hi, welcome to Walgreens." Like, just that simple thing. I look over and I smile and I greet them back. So already I feel better going into the store because I've created that human connection. It is such a small, small thing. And it's so easy to do. So please try to encourage that. If nothing else, like I say, take that away, try it, and please get back to me. I want to hear your feedback on that. Thank you for that input and that feedback. So moving forward, another way of how we get around to doing this, it's setting expectations right from the start. It's a part of something that I call expectations management, which is unfortunately not created firmly, clearly, in a way that both the employee and the employer can understand the expectations of one another. And guess what? If you don't have expectations management solidly nailed and implemented, you cannot have accountability. And it's really insane because I hear over and over from clients and guests that I speak to that a lot of times now there's a big problem with the staffing problem. Accountability is a huge, huge problem. People are afraid, managers, leaders are afraid to hold their people accountable because they're afraid they're going to walk. Is that the business you want to be in fear, working from fear? Or do you want to create a business where you are creating a work family where everyone's willing to pitch in and help out with each other, that they feel interconnected with one another? They've developed relationships with one another. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure everyone feels like the second is what they want. And so that is what I do is work with companies to help them create that culture, that collaborative environment of a true connected culture. Another way that you could do this is having a daily huddle. By having a daily huddle, and I know there are some clients who've said to me, I just can't do it daily. There's different shifts, it gets complicated. No problem. Make it work for your business. No, I will never come in and say you have to do it this way. It's why we do discovery. It's why we co-create when I work with people, because we have to make it right for you and we customize it to be right for your company's culture. But the principles are still the same. And for that matter, the principles are the same regardless of what industry or what sector you're in. So often I'm asked, so where's your sweet spot? Who's your ideal client? What sector? What industry are they working in? Who do you serve? Well, I serve a mindset. I serve and work with companies whose leadership recognize that this is a real problem and recognize that their people are in fact their solution for growth and sustainability and increased revenue, repeat customers, retention. That is the way to do it. So the principles are the same. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It's really about working with leadership, working with management to help them with these different pieces and to put plans in place. So when you're having this huddle, let's call it a huddle instead of daily, you're giving your people voice. You're asking them to step up and participate and lead. I believe in creating leaders at every level. And in doing so, we have to think about what are actions that we can do along the way in this employee's experience, that they have a voice, that they have an opportunity to lead themselves, to feel and know what it's like on the other side, and not just them being always taking directions and information by someone who's managing them, who's directing them, who's leading them. I hate the word managing. I've talked about that before too, but we won't digress into that. But you will see that when you create that connection, and you will be creating loyalty and repeat business, you're developing a commitment from your people. I've talked about this before too, and it's important because actually, when training your people and teaching your people, repetition is very important. They say that people have to hear things at least a minimum of 7 times to remember it. So I'll bring up the universal law of reciprocity that I love. You take care of me. People feel automatically that they're going to want to take care of you. They're going to want to reciprocate. So, again, giving someone a simple compliment, giving someone a kudos on what they've done, giving them something that they can excel in, they're going to feel good about. They're going to, someone who give them a great experience, they're going to want to reciprocate and go give you a referral and give you a great review online. So there's all kinds of ways to do that. And Zig Ziglar, right? Famous philosophy of him is you can have everything you want in life if you will just first help others get what they want. So I love that. And it's so true. So much more fun that way too, isn't it? So let's talk about advantages that will come with growing your revenue, attracting the right people to your company. So it's not just about retaining your people, but it's attracting those without you doing a lot of effort, because the word is out there of who you are and what you stand for and what you work by, the culture that you have. And it's not just about, remember, we don't want to attract and hire people just based on who's like us and who we like, or even by a resume. You've heard me say we don't and shouldn't hire only by resume. It needs to be on attitude and character and aligned values. Creating a cohesive and collaborative, high performing team is going to be hinged on this. Super important. Retaining is always the best revenue strategy. So when you do this internally, you're going to retain your people. Creating that work family makes people feel connected and committed, and they want to be there longer, to be around the people they enjoy. They want to help each other out when there's a need. That's the company that I know everyone wants. And trust me, no unhappy employee has ever or will ever deliver outstanding customer experience. We as customers feel the disgruntled nature of an employee. We feel they're being unhappy. Whatever it is, it's human nature. We almost can't even help ourselves, right? Like if someone else is unhappy, you feel their energy. And same thing with the customer. People complain about customers, but maybe as an employee, you could say to that customer, how's your day going today? Or, without anything hard, have you had a hard day today, or is it going well for you? Kind of put it out there without, right, very kind of more general. Some people might open up and respond to you. And then when you respond to them back, they're going to say, oh, wow, this person cares. You're going to see the referrals, the great reviews and ratings that you're going to get from that. You're creating employees inside that will become your advocates, bringing in other employees and customers. And it's why my tagline is turning employees into advocates and customer magnets instead of the cost to your organization. So I just want to put up here as well on the screen, you would see, let me make sure that's up. Yeah. A cost calculator, an employee churn cost calculator. And that will show you with your numbers the cost of a disengaged employee working for your company. The solution to the problem of the great resignation and disengagement is how we engage people. Your workforce needs to be seen and heard as people, not just as workers, not just as a transaction in your workforce, a cog in the wheel of a huge system of a global organization. No one wants to be treated like a transaction. Transform transactions into interactions instead. And organizations, it's so important that everyone feels important, needed, and heard. So this is a general synopsis of what EX is, employee experience is, and what's involved in creating outstanding employee experience and customer experience. So I want to just welcome anyone who this resonated with. You want to have a deeper conversation, you want to ask any questions about your company, your business, I am happy to do so. My contact's up on the screen. You can reach me through my website, Jill at jillraff.com, www.jillraff.com, RAFF like France. Or reach out directly, Jill at jillraff.com. I'd be happy to speak with you, engage with you. I hope you were able to learn about all those X's and what EX is in particular, and how it's so crucial. It has to be the first step to deliver an outstanding customer experience. So have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your experiences. Make great experiences. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same place. I think I'm going to have a guest next week, so I will let you know for sure about that. And let me just take this off the screen. One more comment. Spellbound Wagers, very refreshing and much needed. Your ideas. Do you offer speaking engagements like the PGA section meeting? Thank you for asking. Absolutely, I do. I speak to companies, to organizations, within organizations, with at conferences. I was in Las Vegas and spoke to the Alaska Char Association, which is their cabaret hotels, restaurants, and retailers association. So yes, I do speaking engagements. I've spoken to various organizations within McDonald's, sponsored by Coca-Cola. So again, thanks for asking. Yes, I definitely do speak at organizations internally or at their events of any kind, and that's something that just reach out to me again on my website. You can find there's a speaking tab, and you can book a time to speak to me about any speaking events. So thank you for asking that. I really appreciate it, and I will leave you with that. And thank everyone again for joining today, and wish you great experiences and more connection. Cheers.